25 years of fighting for the family, standing for the church, laboring to return to a moral and biblically based culture.
This is the American Family Association at AFA Today.
And we welcome you to New York. We're glad that you're with us. As we get underway for this day, we're a little bit of a technical glitch, so that's why I sound like I'm on a telephone initially. But the guys in Tupelo are working on it feverishly. But we do welcome you to New York. Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you per usual at this time. And we've got some interesting stuff to talk about. But first and foremost, above all else, I really feel like we got to spend some time on what Todd Starnes published yesterday. This is unbelievable what is being reported to our nation's troops. Brian Fisher was quoted in the article, but that I don't know that I don't know that that's sufficient response. I feel like, friends, we have to do something about this. Yesterday, Todd Starnes reported for FoxNews.com that there was a recent briefing held in the southern part of Mississippi. I think it's the South. Camp Shelby. I guess I don't know where it is. I just had in my mind that it was in the South. It might not be. But in this article that Todd Starnes put into Fox News, there is this discussion of this briefing that was only made public because a soldier who was inside the briefing took a photo and forwarded it to Todd Starnes to tell him what had happened inside the briefing. And let me just read from Todd's article. Several dozen U.S. Army active duty and reserve troops were told last week that the American Family Association, a well-respected Christian ministry, should be classified as a domestic hate group. That's what our troops were told. They're saying that the organization that hosts this radio network, this radio show, deserves to be looked at, in essence, the same way as the neo-Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, the Black Panthers, the Nation of Islam. Now, the only reason any of this became public knowledge is because a soldier who attended the briefing contacted Todd Starnes and sent him a photograph of the slideshow presentation as it played out. And I'm going to link this article to the AFA Today Facebook page, but you can see exclusively through the Todd Starnes article that there is a slide on the screen with the words American Family Association clearly present on the slide. This slide is from the presentation that was conducted at Camp Shelby in Mississippi, where AFA was slated, identified, told to be treated the same as, according to the U.S. Army, as neo-Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, the Black Panthers, etc. Now, besides that, from the very beginning, here's another piece of what happened. The soldier that contacted him sent him the picture, but explained that under the words American Family Association, at the top of the slide, was a photograph of the Westboro Baptist Church preacher Fred Phelps. And you know who Fred Phelps is. He's a man who pretends to be a Christian who will probably burn in the pit of hell himself for the evil that he has meted out against people for his thoroughly unbiblical views of everything related to Christianity. But this man holds a sign saying, no special law for, and then he has the F word that is a slur for homosexuals. Now, Todd Starnes makes it clear in the Fox News piece that just in case people were reading and they didn't know this, that it was imperative for all who were to understand that there is no affiliation. There has never been any affiliation. There is no mutual admiration. There is nothing between AFA and Fred Phelps that can even reasonably be extrapolated or exaggerated to imply some sort of relationship. There is no connection between Fred Phelps and the American Family Association. But this little nutcracker from the Pentagon who comes out to do this presentation to the soldiers, this little imp that does this presentation, he has the audacity to put Fred Phelps on the same slide as the American Family Association. And cowardly, in a cowardly ways, they go to our soldiers and they say this stuff without any challenge. Now, thank God there was a soldier in that briefing that knew the truth. Thank God that there was someone in the room that knew the real story about who AFA is and what they stand for. Thank God that he sent this information to Todd Starnes, and thank goodness that now
actually go through the process of seeing some of this be corrected in the public eye. But friends, this is absolutely without cause. This is absolutely untrue, unjust, and unmerited. This is something that should not be tolerated. And so I want you to phone the Pentagon. I want you to be nice about it, friends. It is imperative that when we do this, we do it with grace and love, and we approach it from the standpoint of innocent misunderstanding, and we assume that they just don't know. So we don't call in and get nasty and mean and call them names or anything like that. Friends, if you do that, you will create a greater degree of tension the other direction. But it is important that this little sneaking around, sneak, not be allowed to do that anymore. So here's the phone number to the Pentagon. It's 703-697-1776. 703-697-1776. Now, thank goodness for Todd Starnes and his guts to tell the truth about this. And I so appreciate Todd. We pass each other in the hallway at Fox News frequently. And I really appreciate what he does. He chooses to write about things that are just not popular. And the fact that he speaks so articulately to them. And you hear them a couple of times each day. I think you hear him in Sandy's show and in Crane's show. But Todd Starnes Radio Minute, you know the types of stuff he reports about. But the soldier that contacted him said, I had to show Americans what soldiers are now being taught. He said, I couldn't just let this one pass. The soldier said that a chaplain was in the briefing, and the chaplain interrupted the briefing and challenged the instructor's assertion, which tells you this was some Yahoo from D.C. or somewhere that was coming in to do this. This wasn't some native Mississippian that was there serving with the troops as normal. The chaplain interrupts him on a couple of times and challenged the assertion that AFA was a hate group. And the instructor said, and this is the quote according to the soldier, the instructor said that AFA was considered a hate group because they don't like gays. The slide was talking about how AFA refers to gays as sinners and heathens in derogatory terms. Well, this tells you where the culture is at, does it not? Because if you say that someone is a sinner, now it's assumed that you hate them. I spent 3 hours this morning in a staffing for my 3-year-old who is struggling with some behavioral issues and is struggling to find his way on some development stuff that hasn't happened yet. And we talked about what we're going to do to work together as a team to work on helping him get past some of these rather minimal challenges that he's dealing with. But we are going to work on them. But part of the thing that I'm going to do as he is growing up, and one of the things that I made it clear to the group, the team that we were there, the caseworker, the social worker, the psychologist, everybody that was involved, I said, one thing that's very clear in our family, we expect first-time obedience, immediate obedience. That's how it is in the McCullough house, and so we're training him towards there. There might be people that say, Kevin, you hate your son because you're calling him a sinner. You're saying that he doesn't obey. You're pointing out the fact that he doesn't obey, and you're calling him to account and expecting him to obey, and he's only 3 years old, and blah, 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 blah. All the excuses that can be had. I don't think that when you tell somebody that they're a sinner that you're saying that you hate them. Now, I think part of it depends on how you say it, yes. But I have never, in my course of time to listening to AFR, ever heard one AFR personality, voice, representative use a derogatory term to describe homosexuals. If I'm wrong about that, I'll say I'm sorry, but I've never heard that. But here's what I do know. It is not a sign of hate or love to avoid using the term sinner. And to be classified as a hate group is unjust. So call the Pentagon, correct their assertion, but be kind. 703-697-1776, 703-697-1776. Kevin McCullough coming back on AFA Today.